All right, next topic, we're going to talk about higher time frame for value gaps. I didn't go over higher time frame for value gaps in the previous video because I feel like this deserves its own video because it's really such an important part of our A plus setups when finding when finding proper really high probability setups, especially during your session. Okay, so higher time frame for value gaps. What is that? Why is that important? The higher time frame for value gaps that I use, guys, that we will mostly use, I need you to put a star on it, guys, is the 15-minute. Okay, that's our number one. Number two is a 1 hour, and our last resort is the 4 hours. We will rarely use the 4 hours. We're mostly going to use the 15 minutes, okay? And the 1 hour as well, but mostly the 15 minutes, okay? If there's none in the 15 minutes, always check the 1 hour, okay? Just know that the higher time frame the fair value gap is the more significant. What does that mean? The higher time frame the fair value gap is where price is likely to go to more than 15 minutes for value gaps. Because remember, there's reasons why, one of the reasons why markets move is fill imbalances, okay? So since higher time frames generally carry more weight than lower time frames, that means price is generally going to be drawing more towards higher time frame for value gaps like the 1 hour or the 4 hour more than the 15 minutes. And the 15 minutes is price is naturally gonna draw close, like more towards the 15-minute for value gaps compared to the 5 minutes and the 3 minute and the 2 minute and the 1 minute for value gaps. I hope that makes sense. The higher the time frame for value gaps, the stronger the magnet for them to be filled. The higher the time frame, they carry more weight, guys. The higher the time frame for value gaps, the more weight they carry. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so but we're gonna use the 15-minute for value gaps the most because that's what shows up the most. 1 hour shows up too. As you can see, there's less fair value gaps here. There's one here, but there's significantly less. There's one here, right? You got a possible setup right here, guys. This is an inversion for value gap right there, right? Inversion on a 1 hour as well. On a 1 hour, okay? There's a possible setup right there. Anyways, we're not trading anymore. We're done for the day. Okay, so 15 minutes is where we're mostly gonna work with, okay? 15 minutes for value gaps, okay? Like this one here. So we use higher time frame for value gaps as reaction zones. What does that mean? What I mean is when price hits this fair value gap, right? As part of our model, we want a reaction from a higher time frame for value gap. When price hits that fair value gap, it's gonna get some sort of reaction. The higher the time frame of fair value gap, the stronger reaction. Okay, the higher the time frame fair value gap, the stronger the reaction. I'm gonna draw it out just for you guys to visualize it, okay? To visualize it. All right, we're gonna visualize it. The higher the time frame, make sure you note this down. The higher the time frame, the fair value gap, the stronger the reaction. Okay, let's say this is a 5-minute fair value gap. Let's say this is a 15-minute fair value gap. 15-minute for value gap. There you go. Okay, the higher the time frame, the stronger the reaction. In our entry model, in our A plus entry model, the first thing we look for is a reaction in the higher time frame for value gaps. Okay. So when I say the higher the time frame, the stronger the reaction, this is what I mean. In the 5 minute, this is what you get. Boom, we get a reaction, right? We got a liquidity sweep over here, reaction. Boom. Change in the state. Boom. Whatever, right? You guys get the idea? Let me mark it down so it makes a little bit more sense. So we have our liquidity sweep, right? And then this is our peak, and we have our inverse for value gap somewhere here. Just so you guys kind of have an idea. Somewhere there. Change in the state over here. CIS. We'll go over CISD after this. CISD over here, okay? It goes down. On a 15-minute fair value gap, you get a stronger reaction, okay? You get a stronger reaction. That's why it's a higher probability of you get better wins, because it's going to be a faster and stronger push. Carries more weight. That's what I mean by it carrying more weight. I'm going to draw it out so we can visualize it, okay? This is what an A+ setup look like. A reaction from a 15-minute fair value gap when the liquidity sweep happens inside the fair value gap, okay? That's your bread and butter, guys. That is your bread and butter. Changing the state. Boom. Okay. You guys see that? Liquidity sweep. Okay, liquidity sweep over here. Let me label it so it makes sense. Liquidity sweep. Okay. This is your inverse for value gap. IFVG. This is literally the same drawing that we did in the TV the other day. Changing the state over here, guys. All right. You see that? You see that? Reaction from this, it's like you can get a fake out. Sometimes you don't, from a 5-minute for value gap, sometimes you don't even get this. You don't even get any of this. That's why you have to really be careful. Sometimes you just get this. Sometimes you just get that, and then price goes up with a 5-minute. You got it. That's why I don't trade reactions in the 5-minute for value gap. It's really, really risky. The higher probability, the higher the time frame, the higher probability of a stronger reaction. The higher the time frame, guys, of a reaction for value gap, the higher probability of a stronger reaction. So you can imagine, right, for a 1 hour for value gap if price bounces off it, okay? If price bounces off it, all right? Hope that clears it up. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's look for real chart examples of 15-minute fair value gap reactions. So yeah, our first entry, the first confluence that we should be looking for if you want an A++ setup is a reaction from a 15-minute fair value gap. Let's look for an example here, guys, okay? We're in a bullish trend. See what I mean? This is what I mean by we trade trends. We trade all this, guys. We're in a bullish trend right now, and this is what we trade. Right? That's a bullish trend. We trade that. Okay? None of this stuff. None of that. We don't touch that. Okay. So 15-minute for value gap. Let me replay this. Price tapped into it. What did it do? Tried to refill it. Right? There's a gap here too, but price, filled it and didn't really have a strong reaction. But here you can see we're getting some reaction. There's a wick forming in this 15-minute time frame. We're seeing some strong reaction. Now we're gonna zoom into a lower time frame, guys, to see what's going on. Right? It's the first thing we look for. Okay, if we're seeing a reaction from a 15-minute fair value gap, so we're seeing this wick here, so there's something going on. So that's why we look at the lower time frames to see what's going on. Boom, we see a strong V-shaped reaction. You guys see that? Strong V-shaped reaction. Okay, and what else do we get? What else do we get? See this internal low, liquidity sweep. Okay, what else do we get? Well, we haven't talked about liquidity sweep yet, but I will in the next video. But I'm just showing you guys why it's so important to look for reactions within the 15-minute fair value gap, so you guys get a better, stronger setups. Okay, we get an inversion, and what do we get next? We got to change it to state. So price got to change it to state. CISD already flew by, but we would have entered here. Okay, we would have entered there, and we would have targeted these internal liquidities, right, or external liquidity. We would have targeted these. Like, we could target these too, but remember, the higher you target, like, the riskier it gets, right? You never know with these markets, but yeah. But I hope that explains, what higher time frame for value gaps are. Okay, I hope that explains what higher time frame for value gaps are. So we got a reaction from that. I think that's all I have to say about higher time frame for value gaps. That's the first thing we need if you want like a really strong A+ setup. Higher time frame for value gaps. We can also check out like the 1 hour, right? So we can see how price reacts to like the 1 hour here. One hour for value gaps. Y'all seeing this? It's a 1 hour per value gap. You guys are seeing what price is doing? Right? It's reacting to it. That's why that's like, this is like the base of our A+ setup, guys. A reaction from a higher time for value gap, because it's probably gonna bounce. It does not mean it will automatically as soon as it touches it, because it can run through, it can continue to go down. That's why we need confirmation. Our confirmations is our model, and that's our setup, right? Our model basically tells us that, hey, price is ready to bounce. Price tap for the higher time for value gap. Okay, it's reacting, it's forming our model, it's forming our liquidity sweep, it's forming our inverse for value gaps, it's forming our CISD, and when we got our CISD, that confirms that price is ready to bounce from this higher time frame for value gap. We're gonna go about CISD quickly in the next video, but I just wanted to quickly go into a little bit more depth about higher time frame for value gaps, because these guys are really important. Okay, if you have any questions, if things don't make sense, YouTube is your friend, or just ask me a question. I'm more than happy to answer.